Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. We're getting a little spoiled. The Masterverse line of 7-inch Masters of the Universe action figures keeps getting better and better, and every time I buy a figure, I don't regret a single thing about it. I'm really enjoying this line. So today we're going to be playing a game of which is better. We're going to take a look at the Revelation version of Tri-Klops, who was a deluxe figure, and we're going to be taking a look at the new Eternia version of Tri-Klops, who is a standard figure. So let's check them both out and see if we can't decide which one's better.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
Alright, so let's get into this edition of which is better. Over here on the left, we have the Revelations version of Tri-Klops, and over here we have the new Eternia version of Tri-Klops. And right now I don't have many of their accessories on, I just kind of have them, let's say, stock for now. Looking at the first round paint and overall appearance at our Revelation version, his greens are, his armor, let's say, is a little smoother. I do like the spikes along the armor, like that is a neat touch. I like the way that it, like all the straps are painted, and then almost like orangey kind of gold connects to this bottom part of the armor. Nicely orange painted belt, of course, like the black fur, which like all the He-Man characters had. He's got boots, he's got the arm cuffs, and he does have on his head the ability to kind of spin. There we go, it's a little tight, but spin his eyes around so that you can use any one of these displays. I kind of like the square one best, I feel. But yeah, like he looks good. The only problem is all very flat. Like even in terms from taken from a cartoon, it's very flat. There's texture to like the fur pieces, but his armor looks very flat. A couple like buttons and studs there. But looking at our new Eternia one, the added little details kind of pop a little more. I mean, even in the eye piece, like there's all this sculpted detail along all of them. So like this is all looking very nice as I kind of spin around. Just all this detail. Let me bring it in closer on the head here. And then the really cool thing, because this piece is interchangeable, if you pop it off, there's all this nice paint and appearance and sculpt work here. Like he looks very robotic, like cyborgy. I really like that idea for Tri-Klops. I always kind of wondered as a kid what would be under his visor if you were able to take it off. Looking at the armor, while there aren't those orange spikes, it is textured. Like, it's textured very nicely. Even like there are like the little studs on the armor, but there's like lines, so you can see how it's like pieces fused together. All this has some detail to it, not just the little studs. His belt, more detailed. This is more looking like chainmail as opposed to fur. The boots have these nice painted straps on them. And the arm cuffs, even though they're probably the same, the little studs along them tend to pop out a little bit more. There's also storage for a sword here on the back, and just all this detail around his collar. The hair looks really nice. There's the metal pieces around the face. So in terms of paint and overall appearance, I'm giving it to the new Eternia one because they just put a little bit of extra love in it, and I think that went a very long way. My second round, as always, is the articulation round, and if I grab the new Eternia one, head's on a ball joint, moves around. There is a cut over here at his midsection. There is turning down here at the waist. The arms can go fully around and out, and of course rotation there at the shoulder. Elbows have two points of bend or double elbow bend. Arms twist or hands twist and rotate from side to side. Legs can kick up, they can kick out. Rotation down at the thigh. Double jointed knee. Boot cut, moving down. Ankle articulation and pivot. And, just kind of what you'd expect from a modern day in 2024 action figure. No surprises here, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing all that restrictive. And with this Tri-Klops, it's the same thing, boot, ankle. I'm not going to go back through all of it. It's the same articulation because I think these are more or less on the same base body. So because of that, both these characters get points for round 2. Why not? It's a tie. My third round is one of my favorite rounds to discuss. It is the accessories round. I love analyzing all the different pieces that figures come with, and this Tri-Klops came with a bunch. First and foremost, he comes with a sword, and it is done up in gold and black. He can obviously hold it very well, and there you go. You get Tri-Klops with a sword. As a kid, I remember Tri-Klops coming with a green sword, but it was in this shape, so I do appreciate that the shape matches. He also has 2 open hands, and, this is going to come into play in just a couple moments here, but I don't love that they're just 2 open hands. There's also, like, some weird markings on them, if you notice, which I don't know why they're there, but they are. He also comes with all of his garb to make him like a Horde cult member, the motherboard cult member. So there you go. That would be the alternate head that you can swap on. Of course, the eyes still spin, so you can see all the different eye options here. It doesn't come off like on the new Eternia one, so it's kind of just stuck there. There is also a robe that you can put him in. Like, first you have to get him into this one and then get this stuff on it. It's kind of a pain to do all this, so I'm not going to do it on camera. If you want to look it up, I'll put a picture on the screen right now, probably over here, showing what Tri-Klops looks like if you put him in his motherboard cult robes. But it's nice to have this many accessories. It's not an accessory that I think I'm really going to ever display him with, unless I'm doing a Horde motherboard cult like display, which I kind of have a little bit of one going, so maybe if I want to keep 2 Tri-Klopses, this would be how I do it. The reason for the flat hands for me, aside from maybe just slapping people, I could see these as like praying hands, like you put them on and he's doing like a, praise be, raising his hands kind of thing. So those are his accessories, and really the only one I'm using is the sword. My new Eternia Tri-Klops comes with a lot of interesting accessories. So as you can see right now, he has 2 weapon holding hands. He does have the option for 2 fists, and I think the fists work a little nicer than like flat praying hands, because they are still something that he's maybe going to be fighting with. The flat hands on the other one, like I don't know what I would do with those. Aside from this eye visor, Tri-Klops comes with another eye visor, and these are all still like it looks like snake scales on here. They all still look very cool, and if you want to swap them out, you just have to pull up these visors, which now doesn't want to come up. There we go. Again, it exposes that really cool like circuitry, and then you just place this one down. A little tight. There we go. And there you go. You have Tri-Klops with another visor now, and you can still spin all the pieces if you want. They kind of snap into place when it's time to stop. And it looks really, really cool to me. I like that there's this option, and like just bringing them both in. This one looks more like robotic and metal in nature. This looks more almost organic, like it's like I said, like snakeskin. So I like that it's not just like the same headpiece with like slightly different painted eyes. They are very different headpieces. He also has this kind of holster or strap, I don't really know what to call it, and you can just fit this over his body if you want. I think it goes this way, so you can pop it right over and it rests across him. It looks pretty good. It does have functionality to it because Tri-Klops also comes with 2 swords. One sword is done up in gold and black like the sword that the other one came with, but this one is done up in the shape as the Revelation one came with, but this is more what I remember my childhood Tri-Klops having, a very dark green and black sword. And we'll get to the open hands in a moment, but you can store both of these swords if you want, just like this. Like, the fact that he can have 2 swords in storage is a really neat look, and I like that. I do, however, prefer Tri-Klops to hold his weapons, so I can take a sword and put one in each hand. So now I have a really nasty looking Tri-Klops, one who has 2 swords ready to take on He-Man and the rest of the Masters. I think this looks really, really cool. So because of these factors, and more so that I just like how his accessories look, more so than the amount of accessories, I'm going to give my third round to the new Eternia Tri-Klops. I mean, honestly, these accessories just look really, really cool. I'm very happy with them. Like, I don't even need to keep the extra strap on at all times. I still think it would look good. Now that we've discussed the basics of these figures, we can have these two fight for a little bit. So the fourth round, we are fighting about price and overall availability. This new Eternia Tri-Klops came out earlier this year in 2024. His original retail price was $21.99, but now on secondary sites, he's selling at about a $30 price tag. So if you can still find him for that $22 price, I think that's great. Otherwise, we're looking at almost $30. The Revelation Tri-Klops originally came out at a $34 price tag because he is a deluxe figure. This figure and all these additional accessories I showed you bumped him up to that deluxe price. However, he sells these days for about $15. That is a pretty severe drop. I want to say when I got mine, I got him on clearance at Target for like $7. So you might be able to find him very cheap. Just because of the fact that, look, you might run into the new Eternia Tri-Klops in a store. I rarely see stores stocking new Eternia or new Masters of the Universe figures. Not saying the line is dead, but I just order my stuff online. It makes it easier for me. So thinking about how quick you're going to be able to find this stuff, you know, how much you're going to get it for, I do have to give our fourth round to the Revelation Tri-Klops because he's a little cheaper. You can get him on Amazon. In a couple days, he'll be at your door. Last but certainly not least is the display compatibility round. I've been buying Masterverse stuff sporadically. At first, I was only buying Masters of the Universe stuff if it was Horde related. Then I decided, like, I really like Skeletor and his monster men and, you know, cyborgs and robots and things like that. So I started buying all of the evil type characters. Looking at some evil type characters alongside these two Tri-Klopses, I'll bring in Trapjaw, the new Eternia Trapjaw, and I will bring in the new Eternia Skeletor. And as you can see, I kind of like my guys, my display, to be aligned more towards that original Masters of the Universe style, with a bit of a flair of some new parts, some new things. Like Trapjaw, for instance, he's got a more kind of heavy-duty cybernetic arm. You know, not quite what the original had, but definitely influenced by it, as well as the Mike Young Productions Masters of the Universe show. Like, looks really neat, you know, very, like, just armed and you know, good looking, but you can still look at this and say, oh, that's Trapjaw. My Skeletor looks like Skeletor. He's holding a, you know, that sword that isn't quite original Skeletor. The ram head on his staff might be a little more pronounced, but, you know, you look at that, you know that's Skeletor. Either of these Tri-Klops figures look like Tri-Klops. The only thing is, when I want something that's kind of that gritty, you know, original style with a hint of some cool additions, it really is the new Eternia Trapjaw that's going to win on this one. I find my own shelf kind of shifting towards that new Eternia idea, where it's that original influence with some extra things you can throw on. You know, if I wanted to throw this belt back on, I can. That adds a little piece of extra stuff. But it looks really good. You know, it looks like Tri-Klops fitting in a little more better with these guys. Like I said, this is kind of flat from the Revelation cartoon. So, all that said, yeah, new Eternia Tri-Klops, he wins round 5. He's just fitting in a little better with some of these characters. Well, this looks like the end for our Revelation Tri-Klops. The new Eternia Tri-Klops definitely wins this edition of Which is Better. Not saying either of these are bad figures, but if I'm only going to have one Tri-Klops on my shelf, I'm going with the new Eternia one. He just looks a little cooler in my opinion, and I really do like his accessories. So, that does it for this edition of Which is Better. Which Tri-Klops do you think is the better Tri-Klops? Leave a comment down below. I would love to get your thoughts and your feedback. And until next time, I've been Dan. You've been pretty awesome. Have a good one. Well, there we go. What did you think of this video? Sound off in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Remember, we are making a push to get to 700 subscribers here on the channel. If we do that before the HasLab Giant Man arrives, I will be giving away the old Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure that you've seen on my shelf and things like that. So hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit like if you're so inclined, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Come geek